Howdy, folks. Welcome back. I told you I would be back. All right, here we go. September 17th, 2024. Right there up top. There we go. All right, while that's loading up, take a minute to thank you guys for taking a moment of your time to be a part of this precious family. Time is very important, and what you do is it's important too. And also, fair warning, this show can be disturbing. So, just there's my disclaimer. It can be disturbing. You might want to stick around till the end of the show for the spiritual report. So, it's not so disturbing. All right, so here we go. Let me just catch this opening frame. Not really much to look at today. A little spit and sputtering, just slow duration or slow motion, long duration event right here, crackling and popping. But we don't have all the data there, so let's catch this opening frame here. See, we end at 1924. We're missing like 4 hours of data right at the best part, right when this thing's blowing off, and we got this thing crackling here. So, but we're going to do our best with what we got, and we'll go even take a peek at stereo A here in a second. So, as we proceed here, you can see our instrument reacting to a few things. We got something sneaking out over here with this little bow shock or whatever. You can see the ghost image here in black of the bow shock there. Now there's something sneaking out through here somewhere. Okay, note we have all this spire region all lighting up and starting to glow, looking like it's pointing at stuff inbound here. So as we continue, now you can see this area come to life, little moon or something shooting out here, a little satellite or whatever. And when I say satellite, I mean by an object that orbits a bigger object, not necessarily a man-made satellite, okay? And you see more emerging here, but then we're missing this event over here. There's not much data on, but if you look over here, you can see there's a shadow. There's like an object sitting here creating a dent amongst all this plasma. Let me back it up a little bit. And you can see kind of it sitting there, and then plasma, watch on the red right here, come around and wrap around this thing. And then right there is where it leaves off. Okay, that's our last little bit of data. You can see this thing squirting out at the end. All of this is all bright and too jumbled, but what I want to do is go ahead and zoom in on this one image up here. And whoa, too bright for the camera. Let's try something more like this. Here we go, we're getting there. All right. Yeah. Why is there all this plasma in all this area, except there's a dark spot right in the middle and all this stuff streaking around a dark spot? Wonder what's going on there. Well, it's one of our stellar cores interacting with the sun. You can see it bending light, okay? It's bending light going around it, okay? That's not coming out in a straight line or. So this object, plasma's reaching out, wrapping around it. Okay, here what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead, while we're zoomed in and faded like that, I'm going to start this and slide it over so you can just watch that develop. See, there was something going on there. And then as soon as it starts to get nice and defined, all of a sudden, no more data. Funny how that works, huh? All right, well, let's go ahead and brighten this back up here. All right, now let's back out of this. I want to see if we got any data from stereo A here. Sometimes we get a little better a little better image from over here, but looks like, yeah, most of it's been scrubbed here anyway, so wonderful. All right, let's move on over to our solar ham. And as you can see, our G4 storm is over. G2, it lowered to G2, and that's even over now because we're down to KP4 again. Okay, so that's good news. Meanwhile, let's come back up here. Our solar flux indices at 165. We're down 4 points. That's good. Okay, we're not in the red. I'll take that all day long. Sunspot number, we're up 37, but we're still in the green at 140. And if we're up 37, that means we were at 103. That's pretty good. That was really low there. So area is 590 and dropping. It doesn't matter really right now. Just take a quick little peek at the sun here in our regions. Okay, 3825, still the complex region and everything. Strong little poles here. Here's a bunch of red surrounding a little blue spot right in the middle, but it seems to have changed and weakened a little bit. We have 3827 still over here a little bit and 3828, but they don't look all that intimidating. This just being our main region, 3825, center disk facing us, but the event that came out of here seems to have finished off, and this might be waning away. So let's come on back here, slide on over, scroll on down and see how fluxed we are. Whoops. Solar X-ray flux, that is. Okay. So there's your chart for today, and you can see we had this little event today, data dropout, but 1, 2, 3, and then going into tomorrow, we got this little spike, a little data drop there, but a little event right here that happened. You guys want to take a peek at that really quick? You don't? I don't blame you because it's probably not much to see anyway. So we're just going to refresh and make sure we get every frame and do it anyway. Oh, now it's showing up over here. Okay, it's what, 13 frames. We'll just kind of let it play like that. But here's our spire region and our object that we were looking at it before, kind of finishing off its little, still dragging out. And you can see these regions right here and right here streaking past it. I guess we're going to have to dive in. Whoops, hang in there. All right, here we go. And I want you to note that crisscrossing like weave or crochet, the magnetic crochet that's crisscrossing here, these magnetic lines. You can make out there's an object right here. There's something bigger with, looks like there's a small one here that's grabbing some of the plasma and wrapping it around this thing. And then the little moon has another little streak coming off of it. So we're going to go ahead and just zoom in on that for a minute too, just so you guys can take a look at this configuration here of what I'm talking about. Oh, we got one right here. Okay, and you can see that it's causing this crochet effect. You got plasma streaking off some in front that are, the tail comes off and wraps around this side, and the tail comes off this one and wraps around that side. So it looks like to be a grouping of these little objects. Okay. Got to remember, these are three-dimensional. This is all spheroids. Okay. Out in space, pretty much everything is a sphere unless it's an asteroid. All right. So there's that. Let me pull back out a little bit. Continue on. Slide really quick. Get you guys a little more frame. And you can see the activity continuing on. It appears that maybe we have a slightly bigger object right in this vicinity, and these are some of the little trailing satellites that are going along with that medium-sized one. Oh no, I'll let you be the judge of this too. You guys been here for a minute. You've seen this activity. You got trained eye. Sometimes you guys see other stuff that I miss. Well, that I don't point out. Because there's a lot going on. There's all kinds of stuff down here too going on, but I'm mainly looking at this event and the way the light's bending around our object. Okay, it's blatantly obvious what's going on there. Well, maybe not to most people, but when it's in motion like that, your eye is more accustomed to seeing motion. It detects motion better, and when it's in this motion, you can see the flow going around bigger object there. All right, so there's your fun already starting for tomorrow. Okay, so now back to our geomagnetic storm here. All right, so we didn't have G4 for the 18th or G2 at all. It's at G1. That's good. I'll take a little reduction in geomagnetic activity any time of the day. You know, I don't like that. I don't like a bunch of it. All right, so I'm not like hoping for, big G7 storm. Okay, anyways. We're still getting absorption here at the D layer. This is up the ionosphere, still heating up the ionosphere. Okay, this is going to heat up the air layers and, cascade down. This also gets absorbed too and sent to the core as well. Okay, so we are going to see a lot of repercussions coming from down from underneath the earth, expanding outward. Okay. So meanwhile, our auroras are very weak right now. In fact, what you see on the screen doesn't even do it justice. It's more like that. Barely a little green line here, and you can barely make out anything up there. So camera's a little light sensitive, but here's our geomagnetic storm. Okay, last night we did our G4, all right, and I told you I was waiting on this next band right here. I was hoping it would be a little less, but it could have been stronger. So thankfully it dropped. We had our little break in between the two waves, and then it comes up again for the second impact, and then drops back down to normal activity here. Okay, so we did have a little double impact, and this is the little break in between them, and then we get a little surge again. I believe that this is our event from the 13th showing up on the 16th. And that what they were predicting was behind this event got squeezed in, squeezed up behind it. And then here's your X flare, the side swiping of your X flare right here. Okay. So there was two different little impacts. There's this one that caused the G4, a little break in between. And then there's your second impact at G2. Okay. And I think that's what they were calling for on this one right here was a G2. So it came in at G2, but they just got the storms kind of mixed up. Anyways, let's come on over here. I want to talk about 3824 beta gamma and still growing. All right. That's 24. Oh, this one rotating away. I was more concerned about 3825 right there. But it is 3825 beta gamma and stable. Its event is already over, so I think that one's kind of done for a while. But we did absorb a lot of energy here. Well, this whole event, even starting here, anything above this little, KP4. See, we're back to kind of KP4. So any of this yellow, all that got absorbed down to the core. Even some of the green does too sometimes. Okay, so we're going to be suffering some consequences from that. Now, let's get into this. Geomagnetic activity gradually declined to below storm levels today following an epic night across parts of North America and beyond. The CME associated with the X4.5 solar flare on Saturday swept past Earth Monday evening just as the sun was setting in North America. That set up a great aurora display, especially when a severe G4 storm threshold was reached around 3 UTC. Okay, the minor G1 storming remains in the forecast, and that's about it. Here's some aurora photos for you guys. Let's go see the tracker, just see if they're showing anything. Still this old impact. Okay, see, this one sideswiped this right there. That shouldn't have been a G4. It's the event that happened the day before this. This got piled up behind it. They missed it. They don't understand that those objects actually retain a bunch of radiation with them. All right, anyways, let's continue on and come on over to this now. All right, come on, pull it up. There we go. And again, let's just cover this. The CME impact sparks severe storms. Okay, as predicted, the CME hit Earth's magnetic field. The impact sparked the G4 class severe geomagnetic storm with auroras, sighted as far south as Arizona. The severe phase of the storm is now over. However, minor G1 class storm remains. Okay, more aurora photography. Yay! I know they're beautiful and everything, but they're not good. Not a good sign. All right, so let's get on over to Crazy Town here. No. Do you see it? Here, let's just kind of put it like that right there. And just a while ago, it's a little more defined here. There we go. Hi. And then there's another one right here. See this big old nose and the eye here and an eye over here, like a dinosaur and a dragon at the same time. Yeah. All right, shall we? Let's get see how his eyes shifted a little bit there. All right, so let's a couple of vortexes there. Let's go ahead and put the wind on too while we got it here. There we go. All right, so a couple of vortexes going on here, as you can see. We got one going on over here in Africa. Look, he's smiling too. Yeah, you are looking at the dragon face to face. They're real, by the way. Okay, and then here's this little, almost looks like Sid from from the sloth dude or whatever. I don't know. Anyways, let's just come on over here. You can see this vortex over India still rotating. Okay, still taking all this stuff, throwing it up against the Himalayas. Meanwhile, you can see vortex here coming into Thailand here again. Watch out, here comes another storm heading towards China. Where else? Oh yeah, up here. A little storm starting to form up there. We're also having, well, we're getting into transition season now, and we're starting to get a little polar vortex activity. So let's take you. No, I'm right there. Okay. There's your upper jet, your lower jet, and then your vortexes. All right, so see the corkscrew effect starting to come in. So we're starting to get a little rotation now up the upper polar vortexes up here, which should kind of take control of the weather here in a little bit, as if hoping these ocean temperatures start cooperating here. All right, so there's all your kind of storms and your weird little dragon face right there. Okay, this is real, by the way. It's not pareidolia. You're dealing with the spiritual realm, which you guys had no idea existed until I came here. Okay, so we're going to do a sandstorm report. Let's get the particulates, the sand, take off this. And as you can see here, our storm plume, or our sand plume, very intense here. Still spitting some off. We got a good little face right here, profile on the front of it here, looking that way with his big old nose. And another wave here, so it's not as intense, not as dense, we'll say, but we still do have some sand plumes coming out here, trying to relegate and diminish hurricane production in this region, which we need every little bit we can get. Now, as we come over to this side of the world, you can see that all sand all around that area. And you can see this eye is still very intense, and then this eye over here is kind of tapered off a little bit, but it's still there, very angry and looking at this region like he's going to eat it. Okay, there's the sandstorms. Thankfully, it's not as defined tonight. I think it's because it's this face over here. Anyways, let's continue on. Sandstorm here is, like I said, diminishes hurricane production, but over on this part of the planet where they're seeing all kinds of typhoons and typhoons one after another, not much sand over here to diminish that. So, all right, now let's come on over and get over to our SO2 report. Come on back over here to markup. Make sure we're hitting right now too. Okay, good. Current conditions. Okay, coming in for a landing here on the country divided. One side bleeding out. We got a little bit of patchiness here from flash flooding from the storm. Okay, these storms now, every time we get a storm, it produces way more water than we used to see. So you see a storm coming in, just expect it to be flooded. Okay, a lot more particulates, a lot more moisture in the air. Over on this side, we have thicker crust and perforations in the crust causing SO2 emissions. There's your country divided. Every time, too. It's weird, huh? Now let's see if we can get these fires in the report here. Okay, they're still there. Main fires are like way up here, kind of diminished. You still have strong emission sites, but a lot of the fires activity is diminished, unless it's just kind of going unreported. Along here, pretty good strong SO2 emissions along the Cascades now. All right, and now we're starting to see a little fire here at this emission site. These other ones have calmed down, and the fires have too. But as we come into California here, you can see good emission site here. These are probably all factories in that area or whatever. A couple of stronger emission sites down in here. We had a couple of fires out here in California that were sparked by SO2, but they have seemed to have kind of tampered down a little bit. Meanwhile, we go down through Mexico. It's got some strong emissions too. Of course, Cuba and Jamaica, all purple. Let's turn off the fires now because they do get distracting. Some people in this region still use open fires and for heating and cooking. Whoops. So not as accurate there. Meanwhile, SO2 emissions all down the coast here, pretty strong along the southern coast here. We go into our fulcrum point just to take a little peek, nice and strong, organized. All of them are there. The fifth one's pretty good. So we're still seeing a fair amount of emissions in this place. And these sites over here are pretty strong as well. So they're kind of relieving pressure in the area, keeping earthquake magnitudes down. Doesn't stop all earthquakes, but it keeps the magnitude down a little bit. And we haven't seen our big 8s or 9s out of this region, because that's relieving pressure. Oh, wait, we got to come on over here really quick. Let me take that down. Weird faces on this side today. All right, good. Okay, good emissions coming out of both of these sites. We did see volcanic activity here at Hawaii. A little fissure cracked open and we saw a little venting there. So Pressure came through. We saw the earthquakes there. We see SO2 emissions, and then we finally saw a little rupture there. Okay, then as we come on in to this region, go ahead and put it back on their time. There we go. Okay, as you can see, very porous land, very strong emissions coming out of there, and India too. What I want to take a peek at though is Taiwan, because Taiwan is our little fulcrum point on the plate boundary and acts like a relief valve, and a lot of SO2 coming out of it lately. Okay, so I don't think, we need to see even more earthquake activity out of there. I think we've seen one, but today, but we could use more. Okay, well, I know a lot of people think that earthquake activity is going to be causing other ones. Well, it happens sometimes, but usually it relieves some pressure in the region. Meanwhile, all of this activity is stretched over into this region, over Korea, coming down into South Korea. And of course, Japan is a volcanic island system, so it's got SO2 emissions. We look down here in the Philippines. This was really dark for a while, and then we had a fire there. SO2 emissions create a fire there, and then that relieved some pressure in the region, and now it's not as bad, but it's starting to grow again. Okay, meanwhile down here at Java, not as dark purple, kind of lighter today in color. All right, so it seems that pressure has relieved a little bit. We're not seeing as strong as emissions coming out, at least around our fulcrum or around our relief valve there. All right, so as we get in here, you can see Australia has its issues. This island up here that we do in our volcano report, every once in a while has quakes on this bigger island. Well, you can see it has SO2 emission sites all over it too. So that relieves pressure as well. I want to come down here and just point out this little island really quick. SO2 emissions coming out of this island relieve pressure in our deep quake region. Here's Fiji having SO2 emissions as well as Tonga over here. Okay, so all these islands are starting to, every time we get around to pressure built up from the sun, a CME impact in the earth. Every time we have a CME impact or some kind of geomagnetic event, well, we get SO2 pressure waves pushing out more SO2. Ugh. Sorry, I'm trying to spit it out properly. All right, there we go. So there's all your SO2 emissions for today. Is that looking a lot clearer on my camera now, finally? Now, over here in India, I showed you this vortex that's rotating. I don't even have to pull up the winds. You can see it in the curvature of the gas emissions. So their emissions come off, get pulled up, slammed up against the Himalayas here and won't go over. So it keeps recycling around and around and around, much like the circulation thing in your car. If you don't get fresh air vented from outside, it takes air from inside and just keeps pumping it around and around. And then if somebody had some bad Indian food and cuts a fart, well, all of a sudden now it smells like rotten eggs and it's circulating around and around. Meanwhile, this region darkening in too. Okay, these regions are starting to get darker and darker and darker. Over here, they have some strong emission sites all around this area, starting to all open up through Turkey. See all these little spots starting to open up? They got a bad case of turkey pox. I mean, SO2 emission sites. And it's just spreading all through this area right here too. Can you see it? And it's darkening in too. See, there's a big old mean face up here that's staring right at that region, and he's like super pissed off. Yeah. Okay, let's get into our the ocean report here. Our sea surface temperature anomalies. Okay. Again, out here in the Atlantic, here's your Little cold patches coming to life here, and some of this is diminished a little bit, so that's good. We still have this central pocket right here, and a little going along through here. But if you look right here, we got a new site right off the coast here of South America, Ecuador, and also a cold patch right next to it. Very interesting. Meanwhile, all these little pockmarks opening up down here around off the coast of Mexico. As we come up here, what I want to do is take a peek. Now we have seen a little bit more reduction in pressure here. We're seeing a little more cold water all the way from the plate boundary out to the fulcrum point. Okay, this area filling in with cold water. We did see some activity here that relieved some pressure, but we could use a lot more. Okay, some of this activity crept under land, and we see SO2 emissions coming down through here, really strong ones before that were starting fires. That has diminished. This has receded a little bit, at least for the moment. You see a little bit more cold water inundation right there. Our comma shape is kind of getting a little wider, but it's still yellow on the backside here. So I'll kind of take a look. You guys were paying attention. You can see the big plus sign here is instead of a circle, it's just, yeah. And then over here at Tamumasi, well, you got the world's largest volcano under here and all kinds of little seamounts, either venting hot water, steam, magma, whatever is heating up the water through this region. Okay. Now, when you get hot water and cold water, well, you get hot air above this and cooler air above this. Well, we put the winds on. Whoops, the winds, not the waves. Hot air rises, cold air rushes in to replace it. Hot air rising, cold air coming in. Hot air rising, cold air coming in, creating your vortex. Okay. And then up here along the Alaskan island chain, you can see here all the cold water. When we get pressure releases, earthquakes, and all sorts of stuff through these volcanic island chains, keeps the pressure down, or keeps the pressure relieved, so the ocean floor doesn't vent a bunch of hot water magma, right? Keeping the water temperature cooler in that region. Can you see it? Good. You guys are getting the hang of this. And it's kind of interesting how the air patterns flow with your heat signatures. Ooh, there's a big face right there. Big old goofy nose looking right at you. All right, so you can see this conveyor belt structure out here in the Pacific. All right, and you see how it feeds stuff right up through this channel right here. That smile is pointing right at this alley right in between Taiwan and China, right where we've had storm after storm after storm. That last one, the typhoon that went through there, was the 13th typhoon for China this season. Did you know that? Well, now you do. Not much said on our news, but they've had 13 typhoons come through here and just boom, boom. Now, they're about to get another one here pretty soon. We're not done yet. Our shift with our boundary, your convergence zone where air is supposed to turn around at the equator, has shifted north, and you're seeing it there. Here, it's shifted north too. It's coming up to this latitude a little bit. Not so much now as it was the last few days. That activity actually looks to have receded a lot. Still coming up to this latitude in here. But it seemed to have receded a little bit. All right, so let me just kind of leave it alone or put it in a good spot where you guys can see all the little monkey works going on. Meanwhile, your conveyor belt system over here feeding stuff up through the Gulf, coming up through the middle of the country, going back out. A lot of this is coming along the coastline, coming down. We are starting to get some stuff that's making it through. And when we get down to our 850, yeah, that's what we're at. Okay. Yeah, that was the right air pattern. Okay, just wanted to make sure. All right, let's even kind of shift it over this way so you can take a little peek. Every time something opens up or a cold vent or a hot vent, well, it changes rotation sometimes. All right, so it's good to see that this stuff isn't coming up and like it's still creeping a little bit here, but it was coming all the way up here and blowing sand backward into Africa, which we don't need. We need more sand coming out of here, so it diminishes our sand, our hurricane productivity. Meanwhile, there's the bottom part of the Earth. It's got its issues too, especially right there in South America. All right, so there's that. Let me go ahead and take these winds down, and then we'll leave it around the Juan de Fuca and Taiwan for our earthquake report coming up next. Okay, here we go. Coming into our deep region where we usually start off here at Fiji. No deep quakes for today, but down here a little ways, we do have a 5.0 and it's at 112, so it's not on the plate boundary. It's on this little ridge line right here. And those ridge lines have little seamounts along there. Down at 112, that tells me it's not at the surface, it's a seamount releasing 5 energy. Meanwhile, nothing at the plate boundary as we come in. We have this little island right here that relieves SO2. So it relieves pressure coming up through this region. A lot of volcanoes through this region as well. Then we come up to this island, and I showed you all the SO2 emissions coming out of this island. It's not enough, and it's having quake activity at 4.6 at the surface, 4.2 down at 76. This is a little island off the coast here, a little volcanic island right off there. Coming up over here, this is off the coast as well, 4.9 down at 18. You know what we do with those. 4.9 for a 49er. Yeah, I guess so. Now, right here, we were looking at the SO2 emissions out of Java today diminished, right? It didn't look as strong, especially around our volcanoes right here. Because we had a 5.0 at the surface right there, relieving energy at the same time. So they're having SO2 emissions, volcanic emissions, and earthquakes at the surface at the same time. So the relief valve doing its job the best it can right there. Meanwhile, no fulcrum point quakes around here, but we did have one here, 4.7 down at 46. This region's a little thicker. 4.9 at the surface there. We know what to do with that. Now, let's come on in over here. Here we have this very, very intense V-shaped plate boundary fulcrum point coming in. You see this one coming in to the point and the next one coming right down there. So it's a very sharp needle-like peninsula fulcrum point, and you see where it's pointing to. That's where it pushes pressure inland, is up this fault line. All through, it spreads all throughout these faults, like a big hand and fingers spreading out pressure. And coming up this fault line is where it's dumped off this 4.1 at the surface and another 4.4 at the surface right there. We're seeing weakness in this fault line structure right here. When pressure comes in, and it's pushing up from down below, you're looking at All right. Everybody's two-dimensional and they're thinking these things are grinding this way or pushing this way. They're also lifting up to, like towards the camera at you, okay? So if there's a crack or a weak spot and you push up underneath it, it's going to flex. It's going to weak and open up that crack and weaken it. So all kinds of little fault structures that are going to come off of this region are all susceptible. And here's one right here, your main little weak spot showing up. So this will be an area of interest to watch in the future as far as a path of least resistance, a new weak spot. Okay. Slow down and breathe. Now look at this on Madagascar. This is your diverse quake right here, 5.2 at a depth of 10. This is off the shore here. We don't see many quakes around Madagascar, especially this magnitude. Okay, even if it is on this shelf or on this peninsula type structure right here, you can see it's almost like a wall that drops down at an angle, almost like a half pipe, coming down to the ocean floor. But right here on this little ridge line, I don't know, underwater. That's, I don't know, unless this little thing's come to life right here. We should take a peek over here at Madagascar. We do have a little hot spot growing right on that region. That might be from our little pressure down below. See this little pimple type structure, little seamount growing right here? We got a plateau with a cliff wall going down. Then we got a little trough down in here, and then it comes back up to this little top of this pimple, little seamount right here. So down in this little trough down in here, 5.2. I wonder, I bet you that might have something to do with it right there. Pressure in that region, little hot spot, pushing up in there. It's not enough. And then all of a sudden we get a little earthquake out of that area too. It's a diverse quake. Okay. And it's being caused by the pressure down below. Could have gone off right next to this volcano. There's a plate boundary with all kinds of fulcrum points right here, but it didn't. It went off right there. That's because of this hot spot, I'm pretty sure. I'll let you be the judge of that as well, okay? I don't tell you how to think, all right? I just show you what is here, and you're mature adults, okay? I have a feeling it's because of this right here. I'm pretty sure. Especially with it, just a weird, there's no plate tectonics or nothing right around there. So, diverse quake caused by your activity down below. Meanwhile, plate boundary 4.9, yeah, 5 at the surface there, relieving pressure. Also, look how naked South America is right now. No quakes right through that whole region. Okay, so that's a little quiet. Also, way out here, all quiet as well. Nothing around the Cocos today. I want to do a quick magnitude check here. 3.9. All right. A little uptick in magnitude here. I want to catch that one. 3.6. So 3.9 down at 169. Little activity going on underneath this little peninsula. You can see how it goes down underwater right here, this whole little structure on both sides of the island right there. And it's a little uptick in magnitude there. Okay, I think we covered everybody else except for this, which we haven't seen a quake on the Kamchatka here in a while. 4.8 down at 105. Almost a fulcrum point quake. I almost want to call that one, but it's on land. And we got volcanoes right here all over this island going off. So in between your fulcrum point where it is a path of least resistance, weak spot right there, And in between that and the volcano is your quake, a 4.8 down at 105. The first quake we've seen here in a little while. Let me try getting all magnitudes for our U.S. report. Okay, so after this, relieving a lot of pressure in the region as well as volcanic activity on the island, we don't see much microquaking along here today, do we? Nothing out on the tabletop on the plateau out here. First thing coming in is 2.8. Let's go up to, where's a good fulcrum point? 1.5. Yeah, we didn't even see anything larger than that 2.8 through there. Okay, we're coming into the Wand of Fuca, everybody. Meanwhile, we had this right here in Carlton, Oregon, just pushing inland off of this plate boundary because I showed you there's still heat reached right up to here, and then we got cold water inundation, but pressure pushed up through there, starting fires and SO2 emissions through here. So a little tiny 2.1 showing up in there. It's not much. Right on the base, right here's a small one on the base of Rainier. All right, now let's get down to the fulcrum point because this stuff is what matters. A 2.4 at the surface here. 3.2 there. 3 there. So 3.2 and a 3. There's some good energy right there. What was this one again? 2.4 to back it up. So a little bit. I'll take every bit we can get out of there because that helps relieve some of the pressure, and then it reverts in your temperature charts. There's less hot water pushing out of that region because it got relieved. Bingo. See how this area, remember it was just cold water right here? Now this area cleared out. Yeah. Meanwhile, coming into your geysers, they're still doing their job microquaking out. That's good. It relieves energy, pressure as it comes into the North Bay, keeping stuff down to like 2.4 here in Oakland. Okay, if you need to rest, it's all good. You can always come back and watch this on replay. My show is long, so I don't blame you guys if you take a rest in the middle of it. That 2 here along the coastline right there is just kind of peeking around here. Ooh, what's going on up here? Okay, up here by Mono Lake. This is outside of Mammoth, around our caldera out here. 2.1. A little 1.5. What's on that side? Another 2.1. So a little activity around Mono Lake right here. Some kind of creeping up here into Mid Pines, California, still around Yosemite Valley. So this region kind of having a little session itself. A little bit along the boundary, a little microquaking out through this area. What's our biggest quake right here? Is it 2.0? We still see stuff on this like egg type structure, almost looks like an eye type structure right here. Okay, and as we've seen pressure building underneath this right here. We're starting to see yellow in that area again. All right, it had yellow, it diminished. We saw a good sized quake in that region. A couple of SO2 sites open up, starting fires, and this whole area diminished from yellow down to red and diminished in size. Now it's starting to come back to life with a little bit of yellow right in that little pocket right there. Right in that little pocket right there. Okay, so we're going to see a little uptick probably in earthquakes in this area. Uptick in magnitude and in size. Okay, let's come on over to see what happened in this region. Of course, we all have man-made perforations. Okay, mainly twos. We had a 5 out here yesterday, and well, that was a good display of how your pressure gets distributed at a certain magnitude all around. And it gives a good warning to the people in Texas that, hey, by the way, you're capable of having a magnitude 5 quake in that region. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Just be nice to the fairy. All right. To the show. Cool. So there's your activity there in Texas today. Nothing along the New Madrid and nothing really along our Craton either. So that's good. Quick little peek at Hawaii. We did have a rupture there. Okay, and magma finally broke the surface. But what I want to talk about is all these little quake swarms that are going on around this little rim caldera right here. And latest ones are 2.7, 2.0. Let me just take a peek around. So a bunch of microquaking going on there. We had an eruption there. 2.2. This current one's a 1.9. A little activity going on over by this crater as well. All along this foot of this lava field. 2. All right. Way down in here too. So even though they had a eruption today, they're still showing quite a bit of quake activity. So a lot of pressure is still coming out of this region right here. And that's the hub of the Pacific Rim. You know, it's you see all these other areas that have activity all the way around the edge. Well, got to have activity in the middle too. So there's your earthquake report for tonight. Did we cover everybody? Yeah, I think so. Main story is this thing right here in Madagascar. A 5.2 in Madagascar. That's a new spot to watch. That little trough in between the island and this little seamount. We might even see something go on into seamount or something. That's a new little spot right there. You might even see something go on right around here. See that thing right there? Good. All right, let's close out the earthquake report and get on with our volcano report. Let me close out some of these instruments that we won't need. Geomagnetic storm we don't need. We'll keep that. Nope, we don't need that. All right, thank you for your patience here. I have to close out a few. The volcano page takes quite a bit of whatever. 36 and 32. Do you see a change up there? Did it say 36 and 32? It sure did. 36 erupting and 32 in unrest or active. That is 68. We have a new volcano on there. So, Kilauea, new volcano. So, let's get into it here. I would love to help support you if I had any way of doing it. Now, see Kilauea on there. All right, here we go. White Island volcano. Showing active there. White Island volcano explosive activity continues. Volcanic ash advisory that a plume rose up to an estimated 4,000 feet at White Island, Kilauea. All right, it's not clear at the moment whether the eruption still continues at the new pore crater, where the new fissure was producing a curtain of lava fountains with lava flows spreading to cover the crater floor. Producing a curtain of lava fountains. Impressive images from the eruption yesterday. Can we see those impressive eruptions? See, right there, that little fissure opening up right there. And when you overcook an egg and it expands from the inside out and the shell cracks, well, it cracks like in lines, in little zigzag linear fissure cracks. And what you're looking at, can we have this whole image right here? Get that all blown up right there. Do you see the crack that opened up here? And now there is lava coming out of it, isn't there? Well, because underneath that, there's pressure pushing up, splitting the ground open, and it's looking for a pathway of least resistance. All this is SO2. It's probably coming out, and then all of a sudden you got magma coming out now too. And this curtain effect, when you get the earth ripping and cracking and unzipping in a linear fashion like this, you get these curtain effects. Instead of just a round hole in the ground where, creates a crater with a wall around it. No, here in this way you get a linear fashion, and that's what we're seeing out at Iceland and stuff too. It's a new style of volcanic eruptions because it's splitting the ground. Oh, close the ad. Okay, so back to the eruption. That was an image from Kilauea. So our new volcano on the list is Kilauea, in the hub of the whole Pacific Rim. Okay, we're seeing all the other places vent, right? Well, now we're seeing the hub vent as well. Are we not? Continuing on, Santa Aguito, Novier, Fuego, 15,000 feet. Nevada del Ruiz back on the map at 23,000. It was 15 yesterday, now it's 23. So big uptick in height there because of pressure. It relieved a lot of pressure too. Twice as much that it did. Say it was at 10 the other day, now more than twice. Because of the height. Sabancaya at 23,000. Let's open up this one. That was just in the last few minutes. Let's get into today, the 17th, which is now yesterday because, well, time flies at this channel, huh? This map is pure insanity. It used to not exist, but everything in red is currently erupting. And everything in yellow is currently active. Okay, now let's scroll on down and get into Ebico here. Eruption at 1,400 feet, 14,000 feet. Sorry, Suwanosejima, 7,000 feet. Ibu, IBU at 8,000 feet. Luitobi at 10. I saw another new volcano. Semeru, East Java, 14,000. Dukono, 8,000. Kilauea. We all saw the fissures opening up there, the curtains. Santa Guido, 15,000. Fuego, 16,000. Sangay, 20,000. Reventador, 15. So here's Reventador today at 15, and then we just saw going into tomorrow 23 out of Reventador. Sabancaya at 20,000. These cars are cool until you hit a squirrel and total it. Okay, and that was it for today. There was a new one, another different one that's not on here yet. Hopefully it'll be on tomorrow's report. If not, I'll go find it and we'll look it up. But there's a little example of what we're talking about when we say that the Earth is expanding from the inside outward, okay? And the crust of the Earth is like the shell of an egg, and if you you're hard boiling an egg and you overcook it, the egg inside will start to expand outward and it'll crack the shell and ooze. The egg from inside will ooze out through those cracks. And that's the same basic function, the same effect that we're seeing here. You can see this crack, how it runs right down through here. This is a fault line. and it kind of bulge from underneath. Oh, unzips here, and now that when this event ends, this magma that came up through here will cool. It'll probably seal up that little spot. This stuff will cool and seal up in that little gap. This will cool, seal up, and then the next round of pressure, this part in between will probably unzip because it can't come out here. This is all plugged up now. So it'll look for the path of least resistance, which is along this crack. So once these cool and fill in and, and seal up, then the open spots in between will probably go next. And you can see once it gets liquefied, it oozes away. It's still glowing out this part here. It's still red and still glowing, still smoking. Okay, let's move on to our weather report, shall we? Our spiritual weather. Now, let's come on over and just okay. When you understand the spiritual realm and how it works in different dimensions, different sizes, different shapes, I'll go back just a little bit. See how long that face was there for quite a while. I went back a few hours too. And usually in the spiritual realm, especially the demonic realm, like this, two eyes will share an eye with another face. Okay. And this eye will now become the eye of another face. So here's the other eye. Here's the nose. Two eyes, the nose of what looks like almost like a brontosaurus type head, type cow, a dinosaur. You can see the nostril right there. Its little smile. Okay. And that's usually what the demonic realm does, is always share. Well, not just the demonic realm. Let's just say the spiritual realm, because this is God's handiwork. All right. You can tell when they share an eye like that. Telltale sign. What I wanted to do is play that. Can we get that to... Oh, no, that's... It won't play a movie, huh? No, that's YouTube. No. I wanted it to kind of change shape there. Or we can do it like this. We'll go hour at a time forward. Yeah, that's as far as it goes. But you can see the mouth, the nose, the whole thing, the whole structure's there. Comes together. Smiles at you. You can make out the nose with the nostrils here. So your spiritual realm has control of the weather, and when we do these, well, it's not as accurate as it used to be anymore. So let's just go ahead and march on through this. We don't have much geomagnetic activity enhancement, so thankfully for that. As we go, current conditions right now, you see this comma-shaped storm forming right up in here. We're going to give it a morning time intensification right there in Montana. So watch out for severe weather up there in Montana with snow and severe weather in the morning hours of the 18th. There's increasing by noontime. You see this thing winding up like a big old punch. There's convection. These little things on the backside whipping around like this thing is curling up like that. That could be a little bit more intense than what it's showing. But there's convection, nighttime. Watch out for this making landfall there. See that right there? Boom, boom. So that's the nighttime of the 18th, going into the morning of the 19th, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 20th, noon, convection, nighttime. 21, noon, convection, nighttime. 22, noon, convection, nighttime. 23 noon convection nighttime, 24 noon convection nighttime, 25 noon convection nighttime, 26 noon convection nighttime. Wow, 27. What the? Well, at least it didn't buzz straight up the peninsula. This now it's showing going inside there, up into the bay, then and cutting across and out into the Atlantic there. Winding up a little bit more around the 27th, but this is so far out there and so subject to change. I'm just kind of going through the motions here really quick so you can. All right, as we get deeper and deeper into start getting towards October, we're getting into that transition season of fall where we, transition away from summer into winter and our weather patterns take a change. We start to get our polar vortex back. We start to get other factors in our weather and our, hopefully our heat plumes out in the Pacific and Atlantic will cool off a little bit and won't be so severe in our weather activity. Okay, so there's that. Now, where are we going? Pull up some images, do a few reading here. Let's go. Just kind of show you some of the other stuff that happens here. Here, let me go right there, or maybe even right there. Let's back it up. I think this one's probably the best one. Okay, how many of you can see the wolf there? You can see one eye here, the other eye over here. The nose, his mouth is open, he's huffing and puffing. Whoops. How do we pull this down? Oh, wait, we gotta go. Like that. But you can see his ear coming out, the inside part of his ear right here. See the eye right there, another eye right there. So you can see a wolf there. Just some of the activity that follows me everywhere I go. This guy dropping out of the sky like that, out of the clouds, dropping down. This thing's got a pupil with an eye, row of teeth in it, big old pointed nose. And then look how much it dropped down out of the sky, out of the cloud bank, just to, whoops, just take a peek at me there. A lot more going on in your clouds than meets the eye, you guys. That's why it's important that you look up. All right, what else are we going to do? Where's the fourth one? There you go. And just for instance, I go into the store, I see kind of this pug face type thing looking at me, and then come out of the store and the pug is turned into the Grinch. Can you guys see the Grinch here? There's an eye, his little nose, his puffy cheeks. There's probably the best one right there. A little too big and in your face. But that's kind of what it looks like in the sky to you guys. So big and in your face, it's hard to see. But then when we go back like this and compress them, oh boy, it sure comes a lot clearer, doesn't it? So here's the Grinch smiling. Took a lot of pictures of this event. And then as you can see, it starts to grow horns here. The Grinch is growing horns. And then turns into the dragon here. Can you see the dragon in here? This one's pretty good. Probably that one right there is a, ooh. Yeah, see, it's too close. but you can see that these images are in a different dimension. Okay, they're outside your scope of vision until you compress these images. Then you can see that this activity is happening outside your scope of vision in a different dimension. Don't know what was going on in these, but still pictures of the clouds, what was going on at the time. What else we're gonna do? So we're gonna pull this one open here. A lot of important stuff here. This is your foundation, your rock. Okay. We're gonna get rid of tropical tidbits, volcano activity, all of that other stuff. What was the other one? Oh yeah, I forgot to save that one. Lord, where are we going? Oh yeah. Just pull up a few images. Guys doing okay there in the chat? And finish up all. Oh. Okay, hang on. Reading the chat real quick, my bad. Gotta focus and do so too. I love you guys. You guys are hanging out. That's good. So, I want to pull this one up really quick just for the lion face, because the gift that, or the flip book that I put together in my saved stuff got demolished by Google or something, but I still got this video of it right here. So we're just going to play this really quick. Where you can see that this face has changed now. Now we're seeing a more round, like lion type face with the nose right here. Here's an eye coming out here, an eye going that way. Here's its mouth slit, the chin going down here. So this round face right here with a crown still above it. Now I'm going to go through and show you the flip book where it changes from Jesus to this lion face. Okay, now we're here at this image right here. This is a flip book of about maybe 15 or 20 of those pictures, and it's the transition between Jesus's face and the lion face. Now this happened in the clouds, and it was so big and in your face you couldn't see it. It wasn't until I took these images and zoomed out and compressed them. Yeah, they come in a little clearer when it's more zoomed out. In your face, you have to zoom out to see these. And these images that you're looking at have all been compressed, each frame, and then put into a flip book. And you can clearly see Jesus's face here with his crown hovering over his head, turning into that weird little lion face or whatever right there. Okay? All right, so when I show you this series of images right here, these are all the pictures stacked on top. These ones I rotated just to kind of get, so you didn't have to tilt your head. But then you see it turning more into a lion face there. There was other activity going on. I come back and here's the lion face more defined. So I stacked all these pictures on top of each other and made that flip book, okay? And then you can see what happened there, and that's Easter 2020. We want this one. All right, get you guys the heart image up here. Oh, yes. Ads. I got a question for you guys. How many of you guys have gone out and purchased something because you saw the ad on YouTube? You saw that ad on YouTube and you felt you had to go out and purchase that item right then. And I'm going to start zooming in. Oops. In on this. Actually, we should have gone right there. What looked like a face over here. All right. Get my hand out of the way. And I'm going to start zoom. There we go. There's a good image of Jesus pulling open his shirt, exposing his heart. You can see it radiating out these waves and making this face in the clouds, okay? This is the most important part right there, okay? I want you guys to focus. This is all about love, okay? So let me get back up to this. That's a pretty good image right there, though. Where it's more standing upright. Actually, we can dim that. So we don't have to tilt it back so much. All right, hopefully those ones are not the wavy lines. My obsessive compulsive here until I get it just right for you guys. All right, now it's a little bit better. Hopefully you can see that a little bit better. See the face a lot clearer with the hair flowing down and the crown right there. All right, so there's that. And we got this one too. And one more, the face by the moon. Yeah, face by
that this is, you know. And
all right, cool. No, not much reading for tonight. I still got to read a couple of things though, because I know what you guys are feeling. I know what happened today. I know about the pagers. I know every little detail of what's going on. It freaks everybody out. Okay. So, I got that one and two. I have two for you. It was this one. Okay, good. All right. So, with this image right over here. Nope, right there. Okay. I understand what's happening. That it's really happening and that you are actually a part of it. You're part of an exclusive family. How lucky you are. All right. So, I got a bunch of people out there that are all freaking out because of what happened today and what could possibly happen now because of those results. But I want to reassure you, do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. Again, do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. Sometimes you feel bombarded with all the bad things that are happening in the world. The news reports are alarming, and people are calling evil good and good evil, aren't they? And all of this can be overwhelming unless you stay in communication with me. I am saddened but not surprised by the horrors you see going on around you. Very saddening. It's just sad. I think you guys see from my perspective and you see how saddened I am, but not surprised. I know fully the deceitful, wicked condition of the human heart. And unless people are redeemed through saving faith in me, their potential for doing wrong is unlimited. So instead of being disheartened by the condition of the world, I want my followers to be lights shining in the darkness. So when evil appears to be winning, be more determined than ever to accomplish something good. Okay? You're not saving the world. You're not cheering up the whole world. You are trying to accomplish something good in your realm, in your small life, in your life, in your small circle. So instead of being disheartened by the condition of the world, I want my followers to continue to be lights shining on in the darkness. And when evil appears to be winning, just be more determined to accomplish something good. Be more determined than ever. And go accomplish something good. And sometimes this will involve working directly against the bad things that upset you. And at other times, it will be a matter of doing whatever you can to promote biblical goodness according to your gifts, abilities, and circumstances. Okay? You can't go over there and take care of business in the Middle East yourself. So, at other times, it'll be a matter of doing what you can to promote the biblical goodness according to your gifts. According to your gifts, according to your abilities, your biblical goodness according to your abilities, your biblical goodness according to your gifts. Promote the biblical goodness according to your circumstances, all right? Either way, you focus less on bemoaning evil and more on working to create something that is good. We waste too much time and energy bemoaning evil when you could be focusing on working to create something good. That one, that's over. Where to go? Okay, yeah. So, I think we're just going to leave the other images alone here. What's that one? That one. Seeing the heart there, we're just going to come back to this. All right. Scroll on down just a bit more. All right. Just sticking with these images tonight. Right there. All right, there's your. Hopefully, you guys are seeing this. It better be. I'll get the weight lines out of there for you. Because that bugs me too. All right, got one last thing to read to you now. All right. Just one more time, pick up with that. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. Instead of being disheartened with the condition of the world, be those shining lights in the darkness. It's a matter of doing what you can to promote biblical goodness according to your gifts, abilities, and circumstances. And I want you guys to see that and know that I am a shield for all who take refuge in me. When your world is feeling unsafe and threatening, ponder this precious promise. I personally shield and protect all who make me their refuge, their safe place in the midst of trouble. I personally shield and protect all who make me their refuge and the safe place in the midst of trouble. Finding shelter in me revolves trusting in me and pouring out your heart to me. So no matter what is going on in your life, it is always the right time to tell me that you trust me. However, sometimes it will be necessary to attend to the demands of your circumstances before you pause to pour out your heart. So whisper your trust and wait till you find the right time and place for expressing your deep emotions to me. Then, when the circumstances permit, speak freely in my presence, and this rich communication will provide real relief. It will also strengthen your relationship with me, and it will help you find the way forward. My shielding presence is continually available to you. So whenever you're feeling fearful, turn to me and say, Jesus, I take refuge in you. When you do that, I give you refuge. I am that shield for all who take refuge in me. You see good being portrayed as evil. You see evil being portrayed as good. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome the evil with good. Okay? You see the news reports that are people calling evil good and good evil. And it's overwhelming unless you stay in communication with me. Okay? So find shelter in me involves trusting me and pouring out your heart to me. So your circumstances, sometimes it will be necessary to attend to the demands of the circumstances at the moment. All right. Maybe you can't give a 5-10 minute heartfelt prayer. It's just a quick, Jesus, help me at this moment right now. Help me deal with this situation. Because then after that situation, the circumstances before you, you've attended to, then after that, you can whisper your trust and wait to find the right time and place for expressing your deeper emotions to me. And when the circumstances permit, speak freely in my presence. Speak freely. You're amongst friends. You can pour out your heart and speak freely. Okay, a lot of people are hung up with, oh, you can't say this and you can't say that. Well, I'll determine what you can say and what you can't. Okay. Who do you think made up all these words and where did they all come from? So when you are pouring out your heart in your deeper emotions, that time aside, after you've taken care of your circumstances, you've pulled your time aside, you're speaking freely in my presence. That's what helps you the most. The more freely you speak, the more it helps you. I hope you guys get this. Okay. I think that was it. Again, my shielding presence is continually available to you. So whenever you're feeling fearful, turn to me and say, Jesus, I take refuge in you. And all who make me their refuge, I shield and protect. I personally shield and protect, by the way. And it's a precious promise that I will shield all who take refuge in me. And that was it for tonight. Just two of those important messages, because I'm totally raw nerve. I hear everything the guy's going through. And then again, doing what you can to promote biblical goodness according to your gifts, abilities, and circumstances. And that's how you fight evil. And you also fight evil by salvaging your day and refusing to let the news of the day ruin your day. Okay? It might ruin it for 10, 15 minutes or whatever, but then you unplug from that and you take a break and you take a few deep breaths and you pray. You say, Jesus, I trust you. I take refuge in you. And that takes your mind off the circumstances. It reminds you of the bigger picture that's really playing out, and that the other circumstances that seem to be bothering you are actually very small and petty. And they are all just small little challenges for you to overcome that makes you stronger. Okay? Life is a test. It's a test of character and faith. And it's also a testing ground to build character and faith as well. So that's how we grow, okay? Overcoming adversity. And you guys are like working out on steroids right now because we're in really adverse times. And you're overcoming multiple things per day and achieving so much more. And those of you who are living a lot richer and fuller than you used to. You used to drag through your day and just be depressed at the end of it. Now you feel good that you've had 2 salvages in one day, and now you're still plowing forward. You have an accomplishment. And each time you salvage your day, or a couple of times during the day, that's a glory. Okay? You're chalking up glory after glory after glory. And then when you're in a happy mood, you can bring that light and shine that light into other people's lives. Your face lights up. You don't see it, but I do. It lights up just like this. In the spiritual realm, and the other people's spirits see your spirit face light up, and you bring joy to them. Okay? And that's what it's about. We are in those times, okay? You see what's unfolding, and that's why this is important, because this can rattle people, and that's what this is about. It's a battle for your mind. Are you going to be able to maintain composure through some troubling times? And this is what helps you maintain composure. This is your rock, your foundation, okay? I am here. I am back. I am your rock and foundation. This is the gift. But you know what's better than the gift? Is the giver, the one who gives the gift. Okay? There's only one person who can show you a real miracle. Okay? And that's me. And I'm showing you. You are looking at me in the clouds. You're caught up with me in the clouds. This is, here I come with power and great glory. All right? This is me, my face showing up in the clouds on Easter with a crown. This is me coming in the clouds with power and great glory. You are over here at a place that I prepared for you where we could meet in the air of cyberspace, called live on YouTube, live streaming on YouTube. You know, a lot of people do it, right? Well, I live stream on YouTube too, where I can meet my family in the air of cyberspace, where they see me coming in the clouds. They get caught up with me coming in the clouds. Seeing how all this works? You guys kind of putting the dots together here? Figuring it all out yet? Because when you do, then you realize how blessed you are to be here. Okay, you're the elite. You're a select few. The other elite are a bunch of, well, the criminals. Okay, but if you are here and you see me here in the clouds coming with power and great glory, okay, and the crown signifies that. I showed you the baby that was born in my garage, okay, that indwells in me still. Okay, you're caught up with me in the clouds. I prepared a place where we could meet in the air, and you could get caught up and join me in the clouds, in the air, where we discuss all kinds of great things, and we continue to work on our salvage work while waiting. Okay, so keep going from glory to glory. Include me in it, include Jesus in it, okay, and you will find success. When you realize this is really true, that this is really happening, and then you apply the tools that I have given you, you will find that true peace that overcomes your circumstances. It might not come right away. You might have to give it a little patience and keep working at salvaging your day. But then again, you will find the bigger picture eventually, and you'll realize that what you're worrying about is trivial compared to this. You already have victory if you want it. How bad do you want it? That's what this is. That's what this really is how bad do you want it? Because the more you work at it, the more you get rewarded in return. It's equal balance. The more trust you put in, the more rewards you get out of it. Okay? And if you haven't found that yet, don't give up. Keep trying. Okay? You got to keep trying, because if you don't, you're just going to slip into that slippery hole of self-pity, and then you're going to be miserable, right? So we work at salvaging our days and bringing that light, shining that light into other people's lives, telling them, hey, eventually they're going to be like, hey, how come you're still happy? Everybody's tripping out and they're freaking out. You're going to be like, it's because I already know. I already know he's here. I already know him personally. And they're going to go, oh, yeah, right. Then you could send them on over here. Maybe they could, sit back, relax, and be part of the family and get to know me themselves. And then they would get excited in return, too. So instead of being all scared and depressed and in fear, there's this thing called excitement and joy, because we're moving on to a better place. You got to remember, you got victory coming here soon. Just endure. He that endures to the end will be safe. Okay. And I'm giving you the tools to help you endure. Okay. I told you I would send a comforter, somebody who would comfort you in these troubling times. Well, hi. Hopefully you're comfortable here. I sure love you guys. I sure miss you guys. Until my next show, I will be back. I am already back. For 7 years now, I have been back. For 7 years, the rapture, supposed rapture, even though the word's not in the Bible, and everybody insists on fighting and arguing over pre-trib, post-trib, and rapture when it doesn't even exist. But if you read correctly, it says when you see these things happen, look up, you'll see me coming in the clouds. Here I am coming in the clouds. You're caught up like a good book here at this place. Caught up with me in the clouds, where I prepared a place where we can meet in the air of cyberspace. Yeah, that's how precious you are to me. I love you all. I miss you all. Until my next show, I will be back. I am already back. Can't you tell?